Hey friends, so I posted a video the other day saying that I wanted to do a Q&A and I asked you guys for questions. And on top of receiving a lot of questions, I also got a lot of comments on the dress I was wearing. So thanks for the ego boost, I guess. How to be in a functional relationship when you struggle with depression/anxiety. I don't know if I have great advice for this because I personally don't struggle being in a relationship with depression and anxiety. My partner used to suffer from depression and occasionally deals with anxiety, so he's pretty good about understanding where I'm coming from. I think the biggest thing is communication, because I know when I personally am anxious, I get super overwhelmed, a little bit irritable, and I feel like I don't communicate as well when I'm anxious because there's so much going on in my head. So I find that when I am in that state of anxiety that I have to work a little bit harder to communicate my feelings and explain where I'm coming from, because not everyone's gonna understand what's making you anxious or what to do in that situation, because everyone's different, everyone handles anxiety different, everyone gets anxious over different things. But I find that my outcomes and my interactions with my boyfriend are better when I go out of my way to almost over-explain where I'm coming from, I guess. So I think communicating how you're feeling and what you need in whatever particular moment is super important. But also, that's super important even if you don't have depression and anxiety. I think it's just overall good advice. I don't know if that answered the question, but that's my answer. Do you think fully sentient AI, if they are created, should have the same legal standing that people enjoy? I'm just gonna say maybe we should work on getting all humans the same social and legal standing. Maybe that would be good. What's your favorite vegan meal to make when you give 15% fucks about cooking? One of my favorite things to eat right now, and I've been eating it every day, is Dave's Killer Bread. They make everything bagels that are really good, and I like those more. I feel better about eating those because they're whole grain or multigrain. They're a little bit healthier than a traditional bagel. And then I'll do avocado on top of that. And Trader Joe's makes this seasoning that I just discovered called Everything But the Bagel. So it's basically everything bagel seasoning, and I'll just put that on top of the avocado, and it's just this double whammy of everything bagel flavor, and I love it. It's seriously amazing. What do you think of women who decide not to identify as feminists but still believe in gender equality? I actually already made a video about this, so I'll link it below if you're interested. But short answer is I think it's if we have the same goal, I don't really think the label you use matters as much. My reasoning for this is that there are lots of people who call themselves feminists who I don't agree with. I don't always love their opinions on things or the things that they say and advocate for. So I think on the reverse end of that, if someone has ideas that I think are good and we're on the same page about stuff, I don't really care if they don't call themselves a feminist. To be honest, I just feel like people can use whatever words they want to describe themselves, and what they say and do is more important to me now than a label that I personally find empowering for myself, but I understand that other people don't always find it empowering, and that's cool too. Can you weigh in on the asparagus gay controversy? What is the asparagus gay controversy? I have no idea what this person's talking about, but I love it and I'm living for it. My question is, when coming out as bi, how do you deal with currently your family figuring out? I feel like I always end up talking about this video, but my coming out video, I say surprise mom and dad, and literally it was surprise mom and dad because that's how I came out to most people, because I felt really weird and uncomfortable about it. It just felt super serious and I didn't know how to bring it up, so I just, in a traditional YouTube fashion, made a coming out video, and that was that. But some of the issues I have is one of my parents doesn't believe that bisexuality is a thing. And then my other parent is a little bit more understanding of it. They would probably consider themselves pro-LGBTQ, but they also have some kind of stereotypical and harmful opinions about it. So I don't really love talking to either of my parents about it, I guess. And that's fine. I really don't want it to turn into an argument about my sexuality. So I kind of stay away from those conversations sometimes. Do you still like chicken McNuggets? This is referencing a really old video of mine where I say that I like chicken McNuggets more than I like most people. And I do like chicken McNuggets, but trying to be a vegetarian person, so I haven't bought them in a really long time. But I still think they're delicious. So why did you choose your women's and gender studies major? So when I did my associate's degree at community college, I was technically an English major. I mean, I don't know if you can really major in things in community college, but all of the classes that I took were other than the main requirements, were English literature and English writing. And I think a lot of the things that I learned in those courses were really helpful. It helped me become a better writer. It helped me be better able to critique media. But by the time I was ready to transfer to a state school, it just wasn't my passion anymore. And a lot of the classes that they had at the school that I transferred to, the English classes, weren't as interesting as the ones that I was taking at my community college. So I had this whole internal struggle where I was like, should I be an English writing major because that's what I know? I was thinking about being a sociology major for a little bit because I really like sociology, but there were several math classes that I would have had to take for it, and I hate math. I really hate math. I was good at math in high school up until algebra 2, and then that's where me and math stopped getting along. I also just find it really hard to take classes I'm not interested in. It makes me sad. But then I saw all of the listings for the women's studies courses. I really liked that the program was interdisciplinary, so you could take classes from various different subjects, everything from English to sociology to psychology to history, etc., etc. So I liked that it was a good variety of classes, and pretty much every class that I saw on the list that was offered at my school really fucking interested me. I'm kind of a big believer in studying what you want to study because I think it's really important to be interested in what you're learning, because I saw so many kids in other classes where it was a requirement and they just hated their lives and they hated the class, and I could tell they weren't getting much out of it because they were forced to be there. Also, I minored in communications as well. Just saying. Alt-right, SJW, or somewhere in between. You must be new here. If you could date one of Ramona's evil exes, who would it be? None of them, because they're all pretty terrible. Maybe Ramona. I don't know. Maybe Kim. Not that that's an ex, but I would just date Kim, probably. Favorite feminist graphic novel / comic? I made a video about this, so I'm gonna link it. Kind of a shallow question, but how do you do your eyebrows? I just use the NYX micro brow, I think is what it's called, and I use the darkest color. And I kind of outline the bottom and then draw upward the direction that my hair goes. And yeah, it doesn't always work. I feel 50% of the days that I do it, my eyebrows are just real jacked up. But the other 50% of the time, they look pretty good. So that's all I can really ask for in life. This didn't show up in my subscription feed. Okay, so a lot of people have been saying that my videos haven't been showing up in their subscription feed, but definitely join the notification squad and hit the little bell so you can for sure get notifications when I post a video. Or just check my Twitter, because I always have it pinned at the top, my most recent video. Have you ever watched Lindsey Ellis's video essays? I love Lindsey Ellis's content. She is one of the smartest people on the internet, I think. She does really great reviews and breakdowns of media, and she just generally has super intelligent and insightful things to say. So definitely check out her channel, because it's awesome. Will you ever shut up? No, I won't, probably, so too bad for you. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. Also, this is completely voluntary. It would really help me out, but totally voluntary. If you want to help support this channel, then please consider donating to my Patreon page, which will be linked below. Also, do you guys want better perks for my Patreon? Because I've been meaning to revamp it. So if you have any suggestions, definitely let me know, because I want to make it worthwhile.